Hey, it's Trixie. Welcome to the underground. It's been tough this week. I'll tell you, I've got sick. And there's nothing worse than a cold in the summer. I lost my voice, which is my superpower. And I'm not really good at work. I think that I'm just so sick of it. You know, I'm not sick of working, just sick of the same people. You know, I've been in the same place for 5 years, and you're kind of like, every other person I go up to is like, you just asked me, you asked me last week, you asked me 2 weeks ago, you asked me a year, whatever. But there are people that I do kind of have an affection for. There's this one guy that comes in, he's like in his 70s, and he wants to sleep with me. First he wanted me to sleep with him and his wife. His wife's pretty, by the way. But and then he came in to see me. He's like, oh, I came in to see you. And he goes, I can't believe you're that way. You know, because he can't believe I'm gay. And I said, well, I'm sorry. And, you know, I don't want to be, but I am. And he's like, well, what do you mean? Of course you want to be. I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. But, you know, it's breaking the stereotype that he likes me and he's not supposed to like me. You know what I mean? So good. I like breaking stereotypes. So we're walking around the store and he sees this person. And he couldn't figure out whether it was a girl. I think he thought it was a girl with another girl and a baby. And he's carrying the carriage. And he's got the little girl in the carriage. And he's like, look at those hairy legs. And I said, I think it's a guy. It was a guy in a skirt. And he didn't understand. I go, this is why Republicans are born, okay? He didn't understand why a guy's wearing a skirt. And I'm like, well, what about the girl? You know, maybe she's got gay tendencies. We were trying to figure it out. He goes, I'm such a bad person. I'm like, no, I understand. It's crazy. But like, he goes, I feel bad for the kid. And I said, look at the kid. The kid's smiling. She loves her father. That's what you got to look at. You know, I'm trying to like help him see. I go, you can't just judge people by what they look like. And then another woman walks by and she's got pink hair. He goes, look at this woman. He's like, would you sleep with her? I'm like, no, not because she has pink hair. Actually, one of my exes, well, she didn't start off with pink hair, but she had nice thick gray hair. She used to go to Montreal and then come back looking like a snow cone. And, you know, she was pretty. It's like, you know, I can't do anything. It's not my head. But she had pink hair. It was all over the place. And, like, you know, it kind of, like, taught me, because it was the first person I ever dated with gray hair, that, like, who cares? It's just hair. You know, you can't judge somebody that way. But I see and I understand why people do. So that's why I get along with people. And even, I talked to this one Trump supporter, actually set him up with an appointment. He's like, you have Trump derangement syndrome. And I'm like, no, he's a moron. I'm not deranged for saying that. I speak the truth. You guys know this. Another woman was like, he loves the country. I said, he loves himself. I mean, I don't get it. She was a nice woman, very friendly. I got along with her. She liked to save rescues, dogs. And I'm trying to figure it out. Why people are still in his camp. And I said, do you want a president that breaks the law? And she said, yes. Okay, I get it now. To me, I really don't want a criminal okay, whatever. Ugh. Whatever you're going to do. Rhode Island becomes the first state to mandate workplace accommodations for menopause. I don't understand. Excuse me, I have a hot flash. Can I be excused? I worked through menopause. I had those night sweats. That was rough. And hot flashes, which, yeah, they're not good. I mean, maybe people have it worse than others, but you know what got rid of my hot flashes? Getting on the treadmill. Working out, exercising. The only thing about, like, when you get older, my gynecologist is like, it's all done. You're done. I'm like, thank you. It's like you kind of, like, I hate to be disgusting. It's early for me, but to talk like this, but you dry up. You dry up. I don't like drying up. But, you know, they have lotions for that. But, okay. You know, I don't know what I would do if I ever had sex again. I'm like thinking it's been so long that I'm wondering if it's like open for business. I wonder if my vagina, I mean, I take care of it. I trimmed it all nice. You know, I used to like mohawk it. But, you know, now it's like, geez, no one ever sees it, you know? Okay, so Governor Daniel McKee signed it into law that you have to make workplace accommodations for women 50 plus. And I maybe he's trying to get that kind of constituents to vote for him. I have no idea. The law amends the definition of related conditions to include, quote, the need to manage the effects of vasomotor symptoms. or hot flashes. That's what they call hot flashes. And night sweats. Those are the two main symptoms, I think. And I don't know what reasonable accommodations are for that. An ice pack on their body. Because basically, a hot flash is like, you feel it on the inside. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, what are you going to do? Put like, here's a cloth for your face. I don't know what to do with that. But this is why people make fun of blue states. It's hysterical. I think it's funny. Gen X is the most stressed out generation. That's me. No, I'm not. I really pick jobs that don't stress me out. You know, DJ, bartend. Well, bartending got to me after a while. This job can get to me because people are kind of mean. But, you know, it's not a job like I'm a fireman or a cop or a nurse where I have to deal with really your life is in my hands. I don't want to take that home with me. And at least this job is like, yeah, it's important because it pays my bills. But, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that important. So I don't really, if I have a bad day, no one's going to die, you know? So studies show that we are the toughest generation. Penn State did this study. Our parents didn't give a shit whether we played outside where we were until we came home for dinner. You know, we were the hardest hit by divorce. They did a study in 2004, marketing study. We're the least parented, the least nurtured in U.S. history. No one gives a shit. I'm used to that. I'm a middle kid. The 2012 study showed average stress levels of Gen X 5.8, millennials 3.4, and boomers 4.4, Gen Z 0. They don't really, you know, I look at them, it's like, wow, they're just so different, you know, and they do have it right in the fact that they're not loyal to their jobs, that they have that stop button where you're not going to call me if I'm not working, which is smart. But it's like the honey badger. It doesn't give a shit, you know? I kind of wish I was a little more like Gen Z and not cared. According to Newsweek, a third of all U.S. employees have had workplace romance with a manager. Never did that. I did have a workplace romance I told you about last week, and I probably will never do that again. 79% of American workers have said they've had a long-term workplace romance, and a third was with their boss. I don't know. That's something I would never want to do because, like, that person has power over me. And, I mean, if you're in love with someone, you really can't help it, right? If it's going to, how do you know it's going to last? Then you get fired. I don't think so. Venus Williams returned to tennis because she said she needs the health insurance. This is a rich millionaire because she's got Cobra. Cobra's expensive. I remember when I lost my job in radio and I was worried about, that was because I had the best insurance. I got a bill for nothing. I had like detached retinas. I had all these surgeries, not one bill. And it was so relieving. I can't imagine you're going through cancer or whatever and you have to deal with your insurance bills. And next year, watch our insurance skyrocket because the Republicans won't help us, honey. Forget it. But even Venus is feeling the heat because she's got some issues. This was People magazine. I forget what she has, but fibroids or something. But you know, this is what happens when you're older. I mean, even young people can get sick, but you have to, that becomes the most important thing at work is that you have to be covered by insurance. So they need to deal with that first. Never mind tax breaks for people that don't need it. Lisa Vanderpump responded to Sheana Shay's remarks that Vanderpump used her affair with Eddie Cibrian to fuel TV drama. Yeah, this is what it is. You signed up for this and, you know, she's trying to sell a book. My Good Side is her new book. Talked about all the men she slept with. And I wouldn't be too proud of that. Her book was, this was in Yahoo. Vanderpump is funny. She says, I don't care what she says. I'm more concerned about Ozzy Osborne dying. That's the saddest thing. Important things are what matters to me, not her bullshit. Do you think Ozzy ended his life? Somebody told me that at work. That they think he just did his last show and then he kind of, this is the thing. Like, I just got a healthcare proxy and I put like one of my best friends in charge. I go, yep, now you can pull the plug on me. So I'm wondering, because he's in a wheelchair, like I wouldn't want to be in a wheelchair. So it's like, what, at what place do you stop? Like if I'm like this and I'm twitching and I don't want to be like that. If I have a claw or whatever. I mean, I don't want to look like, I don't know. You just don't know. How do you know unless you go through it what you're going to put up with? Definitely don't want to be a vegetable. Don't want to be in a chair. You know, terminal cancer where I have no shot. I don't know. This is a slippery slope. I don't want to do it because I have a headache, you know. Invigor Medical, a telehealth company, took CDC data and ranked the top 10 states with the highest STD rates. Okay, well, we're not, thank God. Massachusetts, I didn't really... Yeah, I didn't have sex for a long time when I was growing up because of that. Like, I didn't want herpes or gonorrhea or, just crabs crawling off me. One of my friends had that. No thanks. So, North Carolina was number 7. They're on the South. South Carolina, number 8. Louisiana, number 1. I think the South ranks high because they don't have sex ed and maybe access to affordable health care. See? I was glad I had sex education. That stopped me because I said, yeah, it's probably feels good, but I don't want anything crawling on me. I don't want to have like bumps or sorry, but that like rules out. My vajayjay has to look good. Total STD cases, 1,388.9. Chlamydia came on top. I don't even really know what chlamydia is. 873.8. That's the most popular STD. Gonorrhea came in a distant second, 390.5. Syphilis, I think of like Al Capone. Syphilis, 390.5, and HIV, 27.9. You know, closet gays down there. I don't know. They got to do some sleeping in secret. New study from Sweden showed just 3 days of no sleep. Did you ever get like that? When you're old, you're going to get like this where you don't sleep. Or you wake up at 5 in the morning. They have like Facebook groups, 5 a.m. thoughts. That's when Trump gets up, shits on the toilet, and then does his tweeting. It raises your risk of heart disease if you just get 3 days of 4 hours sleep. They say you get 4 hours, that's functional. I need to stay away from women. They kind of disrupt my sleep. Okay, according to Forbes, Trump demands the Washington Commanders change their name. You see my Redskins helmet in the background. I mean, I did. I love the name. I didn't know when I was 4 years old that was racist, but he was like demanding it immediately or they're not getting a new stadium. I don't know what he can do. He probably owns the advisory board on it. Who knows? But they're moving forward. They're going to go back to RFK Stadium. And I think the owner, I think we have an affinity for the Redskins, but I don't know if the Commanders start winning that they'll ever go back. You know, I think that changes a lot of things. But he's trying to deflect all these stupid things that don't matter. The Rosie O'Donnell, the Redskins, and like Jeffrey Epstein. His name appeared in like, of course, they're friends. They were friends. He went to him and Marla Maples' wedding. And now they got Ghislaine Maxwell talking to the DOJ. Well, can you say pardon? Because that's coming. Of course it's coming. So you don't have a problem. Now, she's just as guilty as he is to me. You're participating in, you know, sexual abuse of little girls. That is the most cringiest thing I can think of. So I don't care. I'm wondering what's going to turn the tide on these supporters. I mean, if sex with kids doesn't, they want the devil. They want the devil. That's what they want. So this is what he said in a rant on Truth Social. Our great Indian people in massive numbers want this to happen. Some Indians don't care about the Redskins, and some do. Some think it's a racial slur, which it kind of is. George Preston Marshall, the owner of the Redskins, was a racist. That was true. He says times are different now than they were 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, they're worse. The people are more racist now. They're coming out of the woods. Indians are Native Americans. I used to call them Indians too, but now they're from India. Native Americans are the old American Indians. Redskin is a slur. Gen Z thinks you're old at 40. According to a new study by Edu Birdie, whatever that is, they polled 2,000 Gen Zers and young millennials. 26% say 40 is elderly. Wow. I remember when I got a birthday cake at age 30. It said, you are old. 30, dirty 30. I didn't know. 30 was fun. 22% said 35. Come on, man. I guess when you're young and 17, yeah, 30's old. Wait till they get to, they're going to get there too, if they're lucky. 31% say oldness is at 60. That's what I'm going to hit in October. Yeah, I agree. That's what I've been telling. I've been preparing everybody. I'm old. And they're like, no, you're not. And they say that's when senility hits in. No, it doesn't. Come on. You start losing your memory at age 30, by the way. When you hit 80, 50% of us have some form of dementia. Okay. A letter to Jeffrey Epstein I don't want to dwell on this Epstein guy, he's a creep, had Trump's signature and a note and a drawing of a naked woman for his 50th birthday in 2003. Of course, Trump is suing the Wall Street Journal, saying it's not my language, it's not my words. But, I mean, I guess the squiggles were where the vajayjay should be, the pubic hair. I mean, the drawing was of a woman's breast, and a Donald signature was in the place of the hair down there. But what does he care? Believe me, nothing can stop your supporters. So just, what do you care what comes out? Unless it's really, now it's making me curious. At first I didn't care. Now he accuses Obama of treason. I mean, he suffers from displacement where he accuses someone else, what he's guilty of. It's like, Obama's not, and that lady mentioned that to me, that Obama, I was like, I can't listen. It doesn't even go inside the ear and out the other. It doesn't go in the ear. Obama got everybody health care, lay off him. In a 2010 deposition and civil suit, Jeffrey Epstein said, the lawyer asked him, did you have a personal relationship with Donald Trump? And he said, what do you mean by personal relationship, sir? Have you socialized with him? And he says, yes, sir. Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18? Then he goes, although I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 4th Amendment rights, sir. So the answer is, yeah, he did. I mean, he answered the other questions. He wouldn't answer that. I still don't think Trump's a child molester. Let me get that out. I don't think so. So I just don't understand all this secrecy because who's going to even think about that? He's never been accused of that. I mean, of course, after he was arrested, Trump stood by his side. No, that's when they had a falling out. They haven't spoken since. Trump posted Obama's fake mugshot. He's got a real one. And he posted Barack's fake mugshot. Obama had to react and it's terrible that he's talked about this way in such a sick manner. The guy served as our president. And boy, do I miss those no drama Obama days. But I mean, he's pulling out all the stops. It's Hillary, it's Obama, it's Clinton, it's Biden. He's got nothing new. According to CNN, Trump's doodles have sold for $29,000 of Manhattan skyline. You should see the pictures that he drew. It looks like my 11-year-old niece could do it. The sketch of the Empire State Building was auctioned for a charity. It's just amazing how people, if they love you, they'll pay for anything. Okay, guys, just one more thing before I go. Massachusetts has the best school system in the country. First in math test scores. We are smart. I wasn't good in math. Not good in science either. First in reading. Not good at reading. 6th for pupil to teacher ratio. 5th for percentage of threatened or injured school students. We don't do school shootings in Massachusetts. Connecticut was number 2. New Jersey number 3. The worst states were Alaska, Oklahoma, and New Mexico. All right, guys, I'm starting to lose my voice, so I'm going to head out. Notice my chatham. I wish I was back there. Thank you for watching and continued support. Subscribe and TRIXXI'S podcast at Gmail if you want to talk. All right, see you next week. Thanks.